Oh, welcome. Today we're going to explore how Magic School AI can transform your lesson planning by saving time while still keeping high quality instruction. So let's go ahead and get started. So what we're going to do today is we're going to review best practices with AI. We're going to navigate Magic School Standards Unpacker and lesson plan tools. We're going to create a basic lesson plan aligned with an educational standard. And we're going to save the lesson plan, and I'll talk to you about how you can share these lesson plans. So let's get started. Let's remember our best practices. What we're going to really focus on today is the 80-20 approach. Remember, this initial phase falls within the crucial 20%. This is where you get to add your unique touch to the plans. Then we're going to let Magic School handle the remaining 80%. And then once that's done, we'll come back and finalize the last 20% by continuing to add what we want to the lesson plan. So let's just kind of take a second and look at traditional lesson planning. As you can see, you have to identify your learning objectives, then you got to brainstorm activities and resources, draft the lesson plan, create materials, worksheets, slides. Still have to go back, review, and refine, and you're going to keep repeating those steps until you finalize your lesson plans. With Magic School lesson planning, you basically are going to input the learning objectives and parameters using the prompt assistant if needed. Then you'll use lesson plans and any other tools you may want to use. You'll review and customize the AI generated plans and materials. That's the 80-20 rule coming back here. The AI will do 80%, you come back to the 20%, and then you finalize. So basically, what you can see is it kind of helps simplify the process while preserving educational value. So Magic School AI optimizes lesson planning without compromising the learning. So just kind of a quick overview here. We are going to definitely explore the lesson plan generator. So just kind of keep in mind that there are 4 steps for creating your lesson plan. You're going to pick a grade level. You're going to outline your standards and objectives. You are going to add any additional content you feel that you need. And optionally, you can actually include the standard code at the bottom. And then once you've completed those steps, you generate your lesson plan, and within seconds, you're going to receive a draft that you can edit and refine until it meets your needs. So let's learn how to use Magic School tools. All right. So again, we did kind of talk about the lesson planner. Remember, if you find yourself feeling uncertain about where to begin, always check out the exemplars. So this is just kind of an overview. We're going to put in our grade level. We're going to put in our topic and standard. Um, if we're having some issues, new teacher maybe don't quite understand all the standards, we can use the standards unpacker. We'll add any additional criteria that we want. And then, of course, our last optional step, if we want to, we can drop in our standards. Remember, check your resource guide and Canvas for pacing guides or clarification pieces in CPALMs to kind of help you with your standards. So before we actually go to Magic School and play with these tools, I just kind of want to show you, we have our standards unpacker, which is going to help us unpack any standard or component parts we need to understand to help the students learn. So what we've done for this lesson is we're picking an 8th grade science standard. So we're going to distinguish the relationship between planets and other astronomical bodies relative to the solar system, galaxy, and universe, including distance, size, and composition. That is the standard we're going to play with today. So we're going to leave our presentation here, and we're going to go to Magic School. And again, in my favorites, I have my standards unpacker. So again, as you can see, I already had 8th grade picked. I'm going to just copy my standard, which I pulled this straight from CPALMs. And we're just going to paste this in here because I'm a new science teacher. I need some clarifications. I'm going to hit generate. And in just a few seconds, boom, there we go. It is breaking down all the stuff that the teachers need to know about this particular standard. I even got a nice little, whoa, summary here at the bottom. Says for understanding the relationships between planets and other celestial bodies within the solar system, galaxy, and universe, the students are expected to develop skills in comparing distances, size, and compositions of these bodies, supported by instructional strategies that include interactive lessons and group projects. As you can kind of see, it has a little bit here about teaching methods. You can use visual aids such as diagrams and models to illustrate the solar system, the galaxy, the universe. Has some assessment ideas. It is kind of bringing down the learning targets for you, defining the expectations. The students should be able to identify and describe different levels of organization in astronomy, compare and contrast the difference in sizes of various celestial bodies, and understand the composition of planets and other astronomical entities. So this right here helps me understand what the students need to learn. And as always, remember, I could copy and paste this somewhere. I could export it to my Google Docs. If I'm not quite sure, I can come in here and I can edit any of this, and then it will save it for me. Go back down to my tools. If I needed to translate this, if I needed it in another language, I would be able to do that here. I could even have it read it aloud to me, or I can just save it in my resources. Also notice down here, Raina's still going to go ahead and give me some suggestions of what I could do with this lesson. So this is my standards unpacker. So let's go back to our presentation. And now let's look at our lesson plan format. As you can see, we have our grade level, that was step one, our topic or objective, our additional criteria, and we can set up our standards to align to. Now, remember, we talked about this last time when we were talking about writing prompts. There is a prompt assistant in Magic School AI, but it is also embedded right here in the lesson plan tool. So it can actually help you if you're not quite happy with how you are writing it in there. For example, here I just copied and pasted from CPalms. I gave it to the prompt assistant. It went ahead and gave me this new prompt. I can copy and paste it. I can accept it. It is also going to come down here and tell me what it did. It clarified the audience by specifying grade 8 students. It reorganized the prompt to clearly outline the components of a lesson plan. It emphasized the focus on the relationships to ensure lesson plan aligns with the standards. Now down here in my additional criteria, what I wrote was, I said, create a 2-day lesson plan for 8th grade students, include a lecture presentation, formative practice, and summative assessment. Notice I put it in the prompt assistant and it came back with develop a comprehensive 2-day lesson plan for 8th grade students focused on this particular standard. The plan should include a detailed lecture presentation, opportunities for formative practice, and a clear summative assessment to gauge student understanding. And then again, I showed it what standard I wanted to align to. So let's actually see this in real time. So from here, we're going to actually go to Magic School. You are welcome to use whatever lesson plans you would like. We're going to keep playing with our 8th grade science standard here, but let's go through this and see what we get. So back to Magic School. This time, we're going to go to our lesson plan generator. And notice here, because I've been playing with it today, here's my 8th grade. Here is my lesson standard that I'm going to work with. I am going to show you, so here was the original. And I'm just going to paste my original in there. That's the standard from CPalms. And then here is the additional criteria that I wanted. So these are the things that I want in the lesson plan. So I'm going to add that here. And as you can see, I've kind of got all my spots filled. The slide I was showing you, you can click the prompt assistant and give it a second here. And notice again, it does It went ahead and kind of cleared it up, clarified my objective, emphasized the inclusion of engaging activities, simplified the language. So I'm going to go ahead and accept this prompt. And then when I come down here to my additional criteria, I'm going to click on the prompt assistant again and see what it gives me. And then there we go. Develop the comprehensive 2-day lesson plan, include detailed lecture. So the stuff that we were talking about earlier, I'm going to accept that prompt. And now I'm going to tell it generate for me. So let's see what it does here. And notice very quickly, it is already putting out stuff for my lesson plans. So this is the 80% we were talking about, where we kind of let Magic School do its thing. Now it's time for the 20%. Kind of look through this to see, is this exactly what I want? So here's my learning objective. The assessment is going to create a visual presentation or infograph that illustrates the relationship. Okay, that's good. Here are the key points. Here is my opening. Begin with a thought-provoking video or animation showcasing the vastness of space. I can pose the question, if you could visit any planet in our solar system, which one would it be and why? Let them kind of work in pairs or small groups. Let them kind of talk about it. Then right here, introduction to new material. I can present some lecture notes highlighting key differences. And for this, I can use one of the other AI tools, which we'll talk about in a few moments. And then down here, we've got some guided practice. In pairs, students will explore a specific planet using tables or computers. They will facilitate a discussion. Uh, the teacher will monitor engagement and understanding by circulating the room and providing feedback. Here is the independent practice. Here's my closing. I can conduct a quick recap activity. We can use the think, pair, share format. I have an extension activity. Anybody who finishes early is going to provide a research task. So some extensions. Homework. Assign students to read a chapter from their textbook about galaxy and write a short reflection on galaxies different from the solar system, and there are my line standards. All right, so notice down here, I still have some suggestions from the AI. What specific details should students include in their infograph? How can I use it? This is pretty nice, but I want to make a couple of changes here. So I'm going to tell it to edit the lesson plan. I'm not going to worry about a short reflection for homework, so I'm going to tell it to delete the homework. And then I want to edit, which one did I want to? I want to edit the independent practice and have students use Canva to create, I specifically want them to create an infographic. It would help if I could spell. All right, an infographic. So let's go ahead and correct my spelling. There we go. So let's see what happens. And then notice, just give it another few seconds here. And then notice in my independent practice, it has already changed it. Students will use Canva to create the infograph. Notice my homework is no longer there. I've taken the homework out. And as I'm kind of reading through this, you know what? I want my guided practice to actually be where the students kind of work to create a rough draft. So I'm going to edit this also. I'm going to edit my guided practice that students will work to create rough draft notes for the infographic. So, and there we go. So, and there we go. So there we have Ah, you know what? I don't think I want to do think, pair, share. I think I want to do a Kahoot, an anonymous Kahoot. So we're going to edit the closing to create a Kahoot review for this lesson. Kind of make sure the kids are getting the objective before we're done. And as we just kind of watch it, you'll notice, there we go. Now the closing has kind of changed. So we're going to prepare a 5, 10 question related. I'm probably going to go with the 5 questions. Um, but I do like, look at this. How can I make the Kahoot questions more challenging? Because sometimes we just have to kick it up a notch. So there we go. That's gonna, haha, trick questions. The kids always love that. All right, encourage justification. That's always a good one. Um, so as you can see, let the AI do the 80%. Now remember, when we're done, we can notice right here, instead of copying, it's going to go ahead and prompt us. Go ahead and export everything to Google Docs. So just come over here, tell it to export to Google Docs. Again, you can just do the selected resource, but I kind of need the full thread because I want my lesson plans. So notice this is going to give me all the lesson plans. So if need be, I can go through here, cancel. I can edit and just pull what I need. Oops, this is the Kahoot. Let's hit cancel. Let's actually come up here because this was the last lesson plan that I liked. So here we go. We're going to go with this one. And there we go. That's the lesson plan that I actually wanted. And I'll just click export and it will go ahead and kick it over to lesson plans for me. And there I have my final lesson plans, which I can then use this information and the other tools with Magic School to actually create my presentations, my worksheets, my assessments. So when I come back to Magic School, again, I can export any of this, but the beauty is if I don't export it, if I just go to my output history, everything that I have done is right here, and I can go to it at any point and pull back up what I've already done. And notice in the output history, it will even tell me which plan I've been using. All right, so there we go. Let's go back to our presentation. And let's get back into our presentation. And so now that we've kind of played around with it, we can see here is the one pager for Magic School lesson planning with Magic School AI. Notice we've done this part. We've done the break down your standard. We played with the standards unpacker. We have not played with the build your assessment, but I strongly encourage, go ahead and go to that multiple choice quiz assessment tool and see about building your final assessment. We did play with the lesson plan tool today, so we kind of saw how that worked. These are some other tools that are available that I was talking about. There's the worksheet generator. Here's the presentation generator. If you're not even sure if you need to differentiate your lesson some other ways, you can kind of look at the tool recommendation. We'll have some videos coming up on these soon. Now, these last two for the student tools, these are not available yet. The plan is for you to be able to start using the student tools during second semester. So kind of keep an eye out looking for that. And remember, you can access this one pager on the Technology TOSA Canvas page if you're not watching the live webinar. So as always, thank you for everything that you do. If you have any questions or comments or follow up or just need some extra help, reach out to TOSA and we'll be more than happy to come and help you along with your Magic School journey. Y'all have a good day.